People as Resource. Overview. The chapter, People as Resource, is an effort to explain population as an asset for the economy rather than liability. Population becomes human capital when there is investment made in the form of education, training and medical care. In fact, human capital is the stock of skill and productive knowledge embodied in them. People as resource is a way of referring to a country's working people in terms of their existing productive skills and abilities. Looking at the population from this productive aspect emphasizes its ability to contribute to the creation of the gross national product. Like other resources, population also is resource, human resource. This is the positive side of a large population that is often overlooked when we look only at the negative side, considering only the problems of providing the population with food, education and access to health facilities. When the existing human resource is further developed by becoming more educated and healthy, we call it human capital formation that adds to the productive power of the country, just like physical capital formation. Investment in human capital through education, training, medical care yields a return just like investment in physical capital. This can be seen directly in the form of higher incomes earned because of higher productivity of the more educated or the better trained persons, as well as the higher productivity of healthier people. Solar economics. People as resource. People as resource. India's green revolution is a dramatic example of how the input of greater knowledge in the form of improved production technologies can rapidly increase the productivity of scarce land resources. India's 80 revolution is a striking instance of how the importance of human capital has come to acquire higher position than that of material, plant and machinery. Source: Planning Commission, Government of India. 2015 से 16. Picture 2.1. Let's discuss. Looking at the photograph, can you explain how a doctor, teacher, engineer, and a tailor are an asset to the economy? Not only do the more educated and the healthier people gain through higher incomes, society also gains in other indirect ways because the advantages of a more educated or a healthier population spreads to those also who themselves were not directly educated or given health care. In fact, human capital is in one way superior to other resources like land and physical capital. Human resource can make use of land and capital. Land and capital cannot become useful on its own. For many decades in India, a large population has been considered a liability rather than an asset. But a large population need not be liability. It can be turned into a productive asset by investment in human capital, for example, by spending resources on education and health for all, training of industrial and agricultural workers in the use of modern technology, useful scientific researches, and so on. The two following cases illustrate how people can try to become a more productive resource. Story of Sakal. There were two friends, Vilas and Sakal, living in the Sam village, Semapur. Sakal was a 12-year-old boy. His mother Sheila looked after domestic chores. His father Butta Chaudhary worked in an agricultural field. Sakal helped his mother in domestic chores. He also looked after his younger brother Jitu and sister C2. His uncle Shyam had passed the matriculation examination, but was sitting idle in the house as he had no job. Butta and Sheila were eager to teach Sakal. They forced him to join the village school, which he soon joined. He started studying and completed his higher secondary examination. His father persuaded him to continue his studies. He raised loan for Sakal to study a vocational course in computers. Sakal was meritorious and interested in studies from the beginning. With great vigor and enthusiasm, he completed his course. After some time, he got a job in a private firm. He even designed a new kind of software. This software helped him increase the sale of the firm. His boss acknowledged his services and rewarded him with a promotion. Picture 2.2 stories of Vilas and Sakal. Story of Vilas. Vilas was an 11-year-old boy residing in the Sam village as Sakal. Vilas' father Mahesh was a fisherman. His father passed away when he was only 2 years old. His mother Geeta sold fish to earn money to feed the family. She bought fish from the landowner's pond and sold it in the nearby mandi. She could earn only 20 rupees to 30 a day by selling fish. Vilas became patient of arthritis. His mother could not afford to take him to the doctor. He could not go to school either. He was not interested in studies. He helped his mother in cooking and also looked after his younger brother Mohan. After some time, his mother fell sick, and there was no one to look after her. There was no one in the family to support them. Vilas, too, was forced to sell fish in the Sam village. He, like his mother, earned only a meager. Let's discuss. Do you notice any difference between the two friends? What are those? Activity. Visit a nearby village or slum area and write down a case study of a boy or girl of your age facing the Sam condition as Vilas or Sakal. Income. 18 Economics. In the two case studies, we saw Sakal went to school and Vilas did not go. Sakal was physically strong and healthy. There was no need for him to visit the doctor frequently. Vilas was a patient of arthritis. He lacked the means to visit the doctor. Sakal acquired a degree in computer programming. Sakal found a job in a private firm while Vilas continued with the Sam work as his mother. He earned a meager income like his mother to support a family. In the case of Sakal, Several years of education added to the quality of labor. This enhanced his total productivity. Total productivity adds to the growth of the economy. This in turn pays an 2015 से 16 individual through salary or in some other form of his choice. In case of Vilas, there could not be any education or health care. In the early part of his life, he spends his life selling fish like his mother. Henceforth, he draws the same salary of unskilled labor as his mother. Investment in human resource via education and medical care can give high rates of return in the future. This investment on people is the same as investment in land and capital. 1. Invests in shares and bonds expecting higher return in the future. Child, 2. With investments made on her education and health, can yield a high return in the future in the form of higher earnings and greater contribution to society. Educated parents are found to invest more heavily on the education of their child. This is because they have realized the importance of education for themselves. They are also conscious of proper nutrition and hygiene. They accordingly look after their children's needs for education at school and good health. A virtuous cycle is thus created. In this case, in contrast, a vicious cycle may be created by disadvantaged parents who, themselves uneducated and lacking in hygiene, keep their children in a similarly disadvantaged state. Countries like Japan have invested in human resource. They did not have any natural resource. These countries are developed rich countries. They import the natural resource needed in their country. How did they become rich developed? They have invested on people, especially in the field of education and health. These people have made efficient use of other resource like land and capital. Efficiency and the technology evolved by people have made these countries rich developed. Economic activities by men and women like Vilas and Sakal, people have been engaged in various activities. We saw that Vilas sold fish and Sakal got job in the firm. The various activities have been classified into three main sectors, i.e. primary, secondary and tertiary. Primary sector includes agriculture, forestry, animal husbandry, fishing, poultry farming, mining and quarrying. Manufacturing is included in the secondary sector. Trade, transport, communication, banking, education, health, tourism, services, insurance etc. are included in the tertiary sector. The activities in this sector result in the production of goods and services. These activities add value to the national income. These activities are called economic activities. Economic activities have two parts, market activities and non-market activities. Market activities involve remuneration to anyone who performs, i.e., activity performed for pay or profit. These include production of goods or services including government service, Non-market activities are the production for self-consumption. These can be picture 2.3 based on the picture. Can you classify these activities into three sectors? Consumption and processing of primary product and own account production of fixed assets. Activity. Visit village or colony located near to your residential area and note down the various activities undertaken by the people of that village or colony. If this is not possible, ask your neighbor what is their profession. In which of the three sectors will you categorize their work? Say whether these activities are economic or non-economic activities. Vilas sells fish in the village market. Vilas cooks food for his family. Sakal works in the private firm. Sakal looks after his younger brother and sister. Due to historical and cultural reasons, there is division of labor between men and women in the family. Women generally look after domestic chores and men work in the fields. Sakal's mother, Sheila, cooks food, cleans utensils, washes clothes, cleans the house and looks after her children. Sakal's father, Butta, cultivates the field, sells the produce in the market and earns money for the family. Sheila is not paid for the services delivered for upbringing of the family. Butta earns money, which he spends on rearing his family. Women are not paid for their service delivered in the family. The household work done by women is not recognized in the national income. Geeta, mother of Vilas, earned an income by selling fish. Thus women are paid for their work when they enter the labor market. Their earning, like that of their male counterpart, is determined on the basis of education and skill. Education. Economics helps individual to make better use of the economic opportunities available before him. Education and skill are the major determinants of the earning of any individual in the market. A majority of women have meager education and low skill formation. Women are paid low compared to men. Most women work where job security is not there. Various activities relating to legal protection is meager. Employment in this sector is characterized by irregular and low income. In this sector there is an absence of basic facilities like maternity leave, childcare, and other social security systems. However, women with high education and skill formation are paid at par with the men. Among the organized sector, teaching and medicine attract them the most. Some women have entered administrative and other services, including jobs that need high levels of scientific and technological competence. Ask your sister or your classmate what she would like to take up as a career. Quality of population. The quality of population depends upon the literacy rate, health of a person, indicated by life expectancy and skill formation acquired by the people of the country. The quality of the population ultimately decides the growth rate of the country. Illiterate and unhealthy population are a liability for the economy. Literate and healthy population are an asset. Education. Sakal's education in the initial years of his life bore him the fruits in the later years in terms of a good job and salary. We saw education was an important input for the growth of Sakal. It opened new horizon for him, provided new aspiration and developed values of life. Not only for Sakal, education contributes 2015 से 16 Picture 2.4 school children towards the growth of society also. It enhances the national income, cultural richness and increases the efficiency of governance. There is a provision made. Human being is a positive asset and a precious national resource which needs to be cherished, nurtured and developed with tenderness and care, coupled with dynamism. Each individual's growth presents a different range of problems and requirements. The catalytic action of education in this complex and dynamic growth process needs to be planned meticulously and executed with great sensitivity. Source: National Education Policy, 1986. Graph 2.1 Literacy Rates in India. Source: Economy Survey, 2012. For providing universal access, retention, and quality in elementary education with special emphasis on girls, there is also an establishment of pace setting of schools like Navodaya Vidyalaya in each district. Vocational streams have been developed to equip large number of high school students with occupations related to knowledge and skills. The plan outlay on education has increased from 151 रुपए crore in the first plan to 3,766 रुपए 90 पैसे crore in the 11th plan. The expenditure on education as a percentage of GDP rose from 0.64% in 1951 to 3.3% in 2013-14 B. Let's discuss. Study the graph and answer the following questions. 1. Has the literacy rates of the population increased since 1951? Though, in which year India has the highest literacy rates? 3. Why literacy rate is high among the males of India? 4. Why are women less educated than men? 5. How would you calculate literacy rate in India? 6. What is your projection about India's literacy rate in 2020? Activity. Count the number of boys and girls studying in your school or in your neighboring co-ed school. Ask the school administrator to provide you with the data of boys and girls studying in the classroom. Study the difference if any and explain for reasons in the classroom. Budgetary estimate. The literacy rates have increased from 18% in 1951 to 74% in 2010 से 11. Literacy is not only right, it is also needed if the citizen are to perform their duties and enjoy their rights properly. However, a vast difference is noticed across different sections of population. Literacy among males is nearly 16.6% higher than females and it is about 16.1% higher in urban areas as compared to the rural areas. In 2011 literacy rates vary from 94% in Kerala to 62% in Bihar. The primary school system has expanded to over 7.68 lakhs in 200405. Unfortunately, this huge expansion of schools has been diluted by the poor quality of schooling and high dropout rates. Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan is a significant step towards providing elementary education to all children in the age group of 6 to 14 years by 2010. It is time. Year 195051 199091 199697 199899 200708 201112. Number of colleges 750. Bound initiative of the central government in partnership with the states, the local government and the community for achieving the goal of universalization of elementary education. Along with it, bridge courses and back-to-school camps have been initiated to increase the enrollment in elementary education. Midday meal scheme has been implemented to encourage attendance and retention of children and improve their nutritional status. These policies could add to the literate population of India. The 11th plan endeavored to increase the enrollment in higher education of the 18 to 23 years age group to 15% by 2011 से 12 and to 21% by 12th plan. The strategy focuses on increasing access, quality, adoption of state-specific curriculum modification, vocationalization and networking on the use of information technology. The plan also focuses on distant education, convergence of formal, non-formal, distant and AT education institutions. Over the past 50 years, there has been significant growth in the number of university and institutions of higher learning in specialized areas. Let us read the table to see the increase in number of college, universities, enrollment of students and recruitment of teachers. Since 1951 to 2011 से 12, 2012 से 13. Table 2.1 Number of institutions of higher education, enrollment and faculty. Number of universities 30 7,346 177 Students Teachers 2,63,000 49,25,000 9,703 11,089 214 67,55,000 24,000 2,72,000 3,21,000 238 18,064 31,324 378 611 74,17,000 14 लाख 3,42,000 4,92,000 20,12 37,204 723 28,00,000 Source UGC Annual Report 199697 and 199899 and Selected Educational Statistics Ministry of HRD Draft Report of Higher Education for 11th 5 Year Plan, Working Group on Economic Survey 2011 से 12, 2012 से 13, 22 Economics, 2015 से 16. Let's discuss. Discuss this table in the classroom and answer the following questions. 1. Is the increase in number of colleges adequate to admit the increasing number of students? Do you think we should have more number of universities? 3. What is the increase noticed among the teachers in the year 1999? 4. What is your idea about future colleges and universities? Health. Firm maximize profit. Do you think any firm would be induced to employ people who might not work efficiently as a healthy worker because of ill health? The health of a person helps him to realize his potential and the ability to fight illness. An unhealthy person becomes liability for an organization. Indeed, health is an indispensable basis for realizing one's well-being. Henceforth, picture 2.5 children standing in queue for health checkup. Improvement in the health status of the population has been the priority of the country. Our national policy, too, aims at improving the accessibility of health care, family welfare and nutritional service with special focus on the underprivileged segment of population. Over the last 5 decades, India has built up a vast health infrastructure and has developed man power required at primary, secondary and tertiary sector in government as well as in the private sector. These measures adopted have increased the life expectancy to over 66 years in 2011. Infant mortality rate, IMR, has come down from 147 in 1951 to and 42 in 2012. Crude birth rates have dropped to 22.1 and death rates to 7 within the same duration of time. Increase in life expectancy and improvement in child care are useful in assessing the future progress of the country. Increase in longevity of life is an indicator of good quality of life, marked by self-confidence. Reduction in infant mortality involves the protection of children from infection, ensuring nutrition along with mother and child care. Source: National Health Profile, 2010. Economic Survey 2013 से 14. Let's discuss. Study the table 2.2 and answer the following questions. 1. What is the percentage increase in dispensaries from 1951 to 2011? 2. What is the percentage increase in doctors and nursing personnel from 1951 to 2011? Infant mortality rate is the death of a child under 1 year of age. Birth rates is the number of babies born there for every 1,000 people during particular period of time. Death rate is the number of people per 1,000 who die during particular period of time. Table 2.2. Health infrastructure over the years. 1951, 1981, 2001, 2010, 2013. H. Dispensaries and hospitals 9,209. SC PHC CHC 725 57,363 1,63,181 1,75,277 1,81,319 बेड्स 1,17,198 5,69,495 8,70,161 5,76,793 6,28,000 डॉक्टर्स एलोपैथी 61,800 2,68,700 5,03,900 8,16,629 9,18,000 23,555 43,322 28,472 19,817 ओनली हॉस्पिटल्स नर्सिंग पर्सनल 18,054 1,43,887 7,37,001 702 555 1,09,224 जनरल नर्स SC सब सेंटर PHC प्राइमरी हेल्थ सेंटर CHC कम्युनिटी हेल्थ सेंटर सोर्स नेशनल हेल्थ प्रोफाइल 2010 DO आयुष Ministry of Health and Family Welfare National Health Profile 2013 3. Do you think the increase in the number of doctors and nurses is adequate for India? If not, why? 4. What other facilities would you like to provide in hospital? 5. Discuss about the hospital you have visited. 6. Can you draw a graph using this table? There are many places in India which do not have even these basic facilities. There are only 381 medical colleges in the country and 301 dental colleges. Just 4 states like Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu have maximum number of colleges. Activity. Visit a nearby hospital, either government or private, and note down the following details. How many beds are there in the hospital you have visited? 24 economics. How many doctors are there in the hospital? How many nurses work in that hospital? Besides, try to gather the following additional information. How many hospitals are there in your locality? How many dispensaries are there in your locality? Unemployment. Sakal's mother Sheila looked after the domestic chores, children and helped her husband Butta in the field. Sakal's brother Jeetu and sister Seetu spend their time playing and roaming. Can you call Sheila or Jeetu or Seetu unemployed? If not, why? Unemployment is said to exist when people who are willing to work at the going wages cannot find jobs. Sheila is not interested in working outside her domestic domain. Jeetu and Seetu are too small to be counted in the workforce. Population. Neither Jeetu, Seetu or Sheila can be counted as unemployed. The workforce population includes people from 15 years to 59 years. Sakal's brother and sister do not fall within this age group, so they cannot be called unemployed. Sakal's mother Sheila works for the family. She is not willing to work outside her domestic domain for payment. She too cannot be called unemployed. Sakal's grandparents, although not mentioned in the story, cannot be called unemployed. In case of India, we have unemployment in rural and urban areas. However, the nature of unemployment differs in rural and urban areas. In case of rural areas, there is seasonal and disguised unemployment. Urban areas have mostly educated unemployment. Seasonal unemployment happens when people are not able to find jobs. During some months of the year, people dependent upon agriculture usually face such kind of problem. There are certain busy seasons when sowing, harvesting, weeding and threshing is done. Certain months do not provide much work to the people dependent on agriculture. In case of disguised unemployment, people appear to be employed. They have agricultural plot where they find work. This usually happens among family members engaged in agricultural activity. The work requires the service of 5 people but engages 8 people. 3 people are extra. These 3 people also work in the same plot as the others. The contribution made by the 3 extra people does not add to the contribution made by the 5 people. If 3 people are removed, the productivity of the field will not decline. The field requires the service of 5 people and the 3 extra people are disguised unemployed. In case of urban areas educated, unemployment has become a common phenomenon. Many youth with matriculation, graduation and post-graduation degrees are not able to find job. A study showed that unemployment of graduate and postgraduate has increased faster than among matriculates. A paradoxical manpower situation is witnessed as surplus of manpower in certain categories coexist with shortage of manpower in others. There is unemployment among technically qualified person on one hand, while there is dearth of technical skills required for economic growth. Unemployment leads to wastage of manpower resource. People who are an asset for the economy turn into a liability. There is a feeling of hopelessness and despair among the youth. People do not have enough money to support their family. Inability of educated people who are willing to work to find gainful employment implies a great social waste. Unemployment tends to increase economic overload. The dependence of the unemployed on the working population increases. The quality of life of an individual as well as of society is adversely affected. When family has to live on a bare subsistence level, there is a general decline in its health status and rising withdrawal from the school system. Hence, unemployment has detrimental impact on the overall growth of an economy. Increase in unemployment is an indicator of a depressed economy. It also wastes the resource which could have been gainfully employed. If people cannot be used as resource, they naturally appear as a liability to the economy. In case of India, statistically, the unemployment rate is low. A large number of people represented with low income and productivity are counted as employed. They appear to work throughout the year, but in terms of their potential and income, it is not adequate For them, the work that they are pursuing. People as resource 25 2015 से 16 seems forced upon them. They may therefore want other work of their choice. Poor people cannot afford to sit idle. They tend to engage in any activity irrespective of its earning potential. Their earning keeps them on bare subsistence level. Picture 2.6. Can you remember how much did you pay when you asked him to mend your shoes or slippers? Moreover, the employment structure is characterized by self-employment in the primary sector. The whole family contributes in the field even though not everybody is really needed. So there is disguised unemployment in the agriculture sector. But the entire family shares what has been produced. This concept of sharing of work in the field and the produce raised reduces the hardship of unemployment in the rural sector. But this does not reduce the poverty of the family. Gradually surplus labor from every household tends to migrate from the village in search of jobs. Let us discuss about the employment scenario in the three sectors mentioned earlier. Agriculture is the most labor-absorbing sector of the economy. In recent years, there has been decline in the dependence of population on agriculture, partly because of disguised unemployment discussed earlier. Some of the surplus labor in agriculture has moved to either the secondary or the tertiary sector. In the secondary sector, small-scale manufacturing is the most labor-absorbing. In case of the tertiary sector, various new services are now appearing, like biotechnology, information technology, and so on. Let us read a story to know how people could become an asset for the economy of a village. Story of a village. 26 Economics. There was a village inhabited by several families. Each family produced enough to feed its members. Each family met its needs by the members making their own clothes and teaching their own children. One of the families decided to send one of its sons to an agriculture college. The boy got his admission in the nearby College of Agriculture. After some time, he became qualified in agro engineering and came back to the village. He proved to be so creative that he could design an improved type of plough which increased the yield of wheat. Thus a new job of agro engineer was created and filled in the village. The family in the village sold the surplus in a nearby neighboring village. They earned good profit, which they shared among themselves. Inspired by this success, all the families after some time held a meeting in the village. They all wanted to have a better future for their children too. They requested the Panchayat to open school in the village. They assured the Panchayat that they would all send their children to school. The Panchayat, with the help of government, opened a school. A teacher was recruited from a nearby town. All the children of this village started going to school. After some time, one of the families gave training to his daughter in tailoring. She started stitching clothes for all the families of the village, for everyone now wanted to buy and wear well-tailored clothes. Thus another new job, that of a tailor, was created. This had another positive effect. The time of the farmers in going far for buying clothes was saved, as the farmers spent more time in the field. The yield of the farms went up. This was the beginning of prosperity. The farmers had more than what they could consume. Now they could sell what they produced to others who came to their village markets. Over time, this village, which formerly had no job opportunities in the beginning, had many, like teacher, tailor, agro engineer and many more. This was the story of a simple village where the rising level of human capital enabled it to evolve into a place rich with complex and modern economic activities. Summary. You have seen how inputs like education and health helped in making people an asset for the economy. The chapter also discusses about the economic activities undertaken in the three sectors of the economy. We also study about the problem associated with unemployment. Finally, the chapter ends with the story of a village which formerly had no job but later had plenty. Exercises. A. What do you understand by people as resource? Though, how is human resource different from other resources like land and physical capital? Teen, what is the role of education in human capital formation? Char, what is the role of health in human capital formation? Part, what part does health play in the individual's working life? 6. What are the various activities undertaken in the primary sector, secondary sector and tertiary sector? 7. What is the difference between economic activities and non-economic activities? 8. Why are women employed in low-paid work? 9. How will you explain the term unemployment? Thus, what is the difference between disguised unemployment and seasonal unemployment? 11. Why is educated unemployed a peculiar problem of India? 12. In which field do you think India can build the maximum employment opportunity? 13. Can you suggest some measures in the education system to mitigate the problem of the educated unemployed? 14. Can you imagine some village which initially had no job opportunities but later came up with many? 15. Which capital would you consider the best, land, labor, physical capital and human capital? Why? People as resource 27. 2015 से 16. References. Gary S. Becker. 1966. Human Capital, Theoretical and Empirical Analysis with Special Reference to Education, General Series. Number 80. New York. National Bureau of Economic Research. Theodore W. Schultz. Investment in Human Capital, American Economic Review. March 1961. Economic Survey 2004 से 2005. Ministry of Finance, Government of India, New Delhi. India Vision 2020. The Report. Planning Commission. Government of India, New Delhi. Midterm Appraisal of the 10th Five-Year Plan, 2002 से 2007. Planning Commission. Part 2. New Delhi. 10th 5 ईयर प्लान 2002 से 2007। प्लानिंग कमीशन, न्यू दिल्ली।